Moving to the US offers many upsides, such as the large market and strong economy, the vast expanses of diverse nature, from the icy Arctic to arid deserts, the sociable and friendly culture, and that's just the beginning. No wonder the USA ranks third among Germans' favorite emigration destinations, behind Switzerland and Austria. However, many are also interested in the flip side, which is why today we're looking at the disadvantages of moving to the USA. First on the list is the relatively underdeveloped public transportation system compared to many European countries. Public transportation is shockingly underdeveloped, even in the most prosperous areas of the US. I have personally seen how in Silicon Valley, one of the richest regions in the world, trains run on diesel instead of electricity. Sure, in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, there are even subways, but compared to many other countries, they look underdeveloped. And in more rural areas, public transportation is simply non-existent. There is also no high-speed rail network like in Europe, China, or Japan, and even the construction of the California high-speed rail has been in delay for years, consuming billions upon billions. But the USA does have the world's longest road network, and many areas are well connected. Therefore, residents rely heavily on their cars and airplanes for longer distances and unfortunately do not enjoy an acceptable public transportation system. Not to be taken too seriously, someone came up with the brilliant idea to retain the imperial measurement system. It was mainly used in the United Kingdom and its former colonies and is now used in only a handful of countries. This causes great confusion if you are not accustomed to these units, but at least it offers no added value. You will have to get used to inches, feet, yards, miles, and gallons. The USA has comparatively lax gun laws, as the right to bear arms is protected by the Constitution. In 2020, over 45,000 people died from gun-related injuries, so it's no surprise that the issue of gun violence is highly polarizing and politicized in the country. There are strong advocates for the right to bear arms, arguing that it is a fundamental personal right to protect oneself. On the other side, there are proponents of stricter gun laws, arguing that stronger regulation is necessary to ensure public safety and curb gun violence. The likelihood that you will personally be harmed by gun violence is objectively very low. The USA is characterized by significant inequality and disparities, ranging from income and education to healthcare. People from low-income families often have fewer opportunities to access high-quality education and healthcare services. Life in the USA is competitive. If you are good and successful, all doors are open to you, but if you slack off, you will fall behind. In the US, it's still go big or go home. And that doesn't necessarily have to be seen as a disadvantage. It is a different system with fewer social benefits and less state influence. It's not for everyone, but it's not inherently bad either. As an immigrant, you just have to adapt to it. And if you are genuinely interested in moving, you are probably already aware of this. Education in the USA is expensive. Although the USA has one of the best education systems in the world and is at the forefront of research, bearing tuition fees is often a challenge for students and their families. The average bachelor's student starts their career with a debt of almost $40,000, something unimaginable in practically all other countries worldwide. Many students rely on financial aid, either in the form of scholarships, special work programs, or student loans. The government does offer various relief programs, but studying can still be a financial hurdle. 64% of Americans say that racism is a problem in the USA. Stereotyping of South Americans, indigenous people, and minorities still occurs and should be taken into account. This issue is also kind of a hot potato and polarizes society. There are also significant differences depending on the region and community you live in. The major metropolises of the USA offer many opportunities, but they also come with their own set of disadvantages. From New York to Los Angeles, many of the country's large cities struggle with significant pollution. As mentioned, the USA is a land of contrasts. Parts of a city can be sparkling clean, while other areas should be avoided. Nonetheless, it is not uncommon to encounter trash on the streets or catch an occasional unpleasant odor. Nowadays, about 42% of adults in the USA are overweight or obese. This leads to a higher likelihood of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, strokes, and cancers among those affected. This is caused by unhealthy eating habits, a wide range of processed foods often high in fat and sugar, and too little exercise. However, if you maintain a balanced diet and get enough exercise, you will have nothing to worry about. Although the USA has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, With many innovations and significant investment in research and development, a doctor or hospital visit can quickly become very expensive. The USA has one of the most expensive healthcare systems in the world. The birth of your child can easily cost $20,000, or a somewhat more complicated incident like replacing a heart valve can cost around $170,000. If you want to be on the safe side, health insurance is essential, and it's not uncommon for employers to contribute to the costs. There is a large pond called the Atlantic Ocean between the USA and Europe. The geographical distance from family and friends should not be underestimated. Unfortunately, you will see your loved ones less frequently after you move to the US, and the time difference should also be considered. The emigration process to the USA can be quite complex. If you haven't won the green card lottery, you should prepare for a long immigration process that can test your patience depending on the case. This is very individual and depends on your personal circumstances. Extreme weather conditions should also be taken into account. Whether it's hurricanes on the southeastern coast of the USA or heat waves and wildfires on the west coast, weather anomalies can negatively affect your life. Again, it greatly depends on where you plan to settle, but at least being informed about potential weather extremes in your new home doesn't hurt, and this problem is likely to increase in the future. The last drawback should be taken with humor rather than seriousness. Don't be surprised if you gain a few pounds after moving to the US. The diverse culinary offerings from almost all cuisines of the world are worth exploring in the many restaurants across the country. So you might wear your belt a bit looser in the future if you indulge in the culinary temptations. Did I forget any disadvantages? Then feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you.